Hey gang, what's going on? It's just me, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to use a foam roller. I'm not going to be going over everything that we can do for every individual body part with a foam roller because it will take far too long, but there are certain methods that you need to know of how to use a foam roller, and then you can basically go off and just experiment with them, and you're not really going to cause yourself any kind of harm doing anything. At the end of the day, a foam roller is made out of foam, so unless you try and eat the thing, there isn't really much damage that you can cause yourself. So, let me just grab the foam roller. This is a foam roller, this is Big Brother, and this is a coffee jar. They can all be used for the same purpose. The best foam rollers I've ever used are actually made out of solid PVC pipes, but that is too tough for most people to start off with. So most people start off with something like this, foamy foam roller. A foam roller is like having an at-home massage therapist, and it is made to unstick sticky muscle fibers. If you've got any particular knots or anything like that that could be restricting your range of motion, we need to get them dealt with. You might not have the money or time to be able to see a massage therapist, but these things are quite cheap and they're pretty darn good. So, muscle fiber tightness, is it really a big bad problem, and should we be dealing with it? Well, if you have a look at my shirt right now, my shirt is made out of fibers, cotton wool fibers, whatever it may be. And that is no different to your muscle fibers. Like, they're all the stringy type material. So let's imagine this sign here, this logo, is your skeleton. And your skeleton is inside all these muscle fibers. So let's say this right side is like our hips, and it's getting real tight. So like fibers, if we were winding them round, like if we were trying to wind them up and they would get tighter, I'm going to get this one nice and tight. So now we can see this side of the t-shirt is super tight. If I try and pull the t-shirt down, only this side pulls down. And although this side of our logo or skeleton feels fine, this side is massively restricted and is not able to do anything. That brings a little bit more gravity to the situation when we're now talking about doing barbell squats, and the idea that if one side of your hips is chronically tight and this logo here is your spine, that you may only be able to go comfortably on one side of your body. You might get a little bit of spine contortion going on, or you might have parts of your hip that can go down a little bit further than the other, and those kind of things are quite dangerous. So if we are going to release your muscle fibers, there's a few different techniques that we can do for it. One is general massaging, one is trigger point, and the other one is smashing. They're the three techniques that we're going to go through today. Now, there's something I want to go over with you real quick. A lot of people get on foam rollers and discover very quickly that these are pretty painful to use. I just want you to know that pain is not a sign of danger when you are using a foam roller. When you put pressure on muscle fibers that are sticky and are tight together, they are painful. And when they release, there is no pain. Muscle fiber that is super healthy and limber should not feel any pain at all when it's got a lot of pressure exerted onto it. So if you get onto a foam roller and you want to leap to the sky because it's hurting, well, the more it hurts, the more that you need to do it and the more that you need to treat these areas. And people who are more likely to experience a lot of pain for this are people who have jobs where they are centered mainly sitting down. For instance, people who are driving, like taxi drivers, office workers, counsellors, I imagine, maybe doctors, who do a lot of consulting. They're just a few examples, but I'm not going to try and get too technical with it. But if you sit down quite a lot, there's basically a 100% chance that your hip tissues, your hamstrings, your lower back are going to be relatively tight, and we need to get them sorted out. So, massaging first, as just a general technique, there is nothing fancy towards it. All you want to do is place a body part on a foam roller and put it up and down with a lot of pressure on it. Literally just massaging the area. So as an example, if I was going to massage my calves, let me get the foam roller out, back them down. I would just put both my legs on the foam roller, lift my weight up onto them, so I've got a lot of pressure on here, and I'm just going to move my body up and down my calves, going from the ankle to the back of my knee. And as you can see, this is just a massaging motion that I'm doing. Nothing crazy technical to it. God damn, it's uncomfortable. But nothing crazy technical to it. And if you were doing general massaging, you can do it for quite a long time. The minimum I would recommend that you do is about 30 seconds on a body part, but you could spend like an hour. I've spent days where I've spent an hour before just massaging various body parts that I've needed a lot of work doing. The other technique that we're going to talk about right now is a trigger point, which is like the next step up. So sometimes you're massaging your body parts and you'll notice there are individual bits of tissue that are much tougher than the rest of them. What we want to do is find those particular tough bits of tissue. So on my calf, actually I have one right here, and we want to apply a lot of pressure to them and keep it static. Apply as much pressure as you can stand for a good 10 seconds and then release the area. So I'm going to put one foot on top of the other so I can put more weight on it. Lift up, and I'm just going to hold them there, count down slowly from 10, and then when I'm coming to the bottom of my 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, I would release. And if I've still got a little bit of pain in there, I might do the trigger point method again, but most likely I would just massage the area a little bit after that, and then go on the hunt for more areas that could use that method. The last one is kind of like your, your backup weapon, your backup plan, is this smashing technique where you would just move a body part in its natural range of motion with a lot of pressure applied onto it. And what that helps with is, let's say like, sometimes you just find little tricky bits that can't really be massaged into. The trigger point method isn't really helping them too much, but you still find and bother with them. Like maybe in your squat, your ankles aren't passing over your knees enough. And what we would do is find those little tough nitty gritty bits of tissue again, lift up onto them, and I'm just going to flex my foot back and forth. So flexing my foot back and forth, and I've got a lot of pressure on my leg, but now the muscle fibre is moving underneath, basically massaging itself in its natural range of motion, and this is like the ultimate method to me. It's absolutely awesome. Cannot be used 100% in every body part, but another example of using that is if let's say in your overhead press, you might not be able to reach your arm all the way overhead, and sometimes for a problem with people, it's their back, like the muscle tissue in the back will be a little bit sticky. So I could get right onto the back of my shoulder blades here, I can move my arms up and down. By doing this as well, I'll find other areas that might have a lot of pressure on them. Move them round, and out, so on. And that's another example of a smashing technique. So these are 3 different examples. Now, as I said, when you use a foam roller, it's going to cause you a bunch of pain initially, but the more you do it, the less it's going to hurt. So you might need to upgrade from one of these to a spiky foam roller, and there might be certain body parts that need things like this. A coffee jar. This one is made out of glass. It's very, very solid. Sometimes I'll use something like this on like areas of my calves that just need a lot more work than normal. Other little things that you can do are just leaning more weight onto certain body parts to increase the pressure of what it's like in that area. So you'll have seen before when I was using the foam roller for my calf, I can have 2 legs on them, or I can just have 1 leg on it, bias more pressure into it, or I can put 1 foot right on top of the other, and go from there. You can do that on almost any part of your body. Say if I was doing my lower back, I could lean more weight onto one side, I could lift 1 foot off the floor, and just try and get as much pressure as I can do in those certain areas. Now, once you're doing all these things, as I said, there isn't really anything that could go wrong. Foam rollers are not particularly dangerous unless you try and eat them. These are just some of the different massage methods that we can use. But now that we've gone through these little techniques, you could go onto the likes of YouTube, and until we have some videos for certain body parts, you can just look at things like Kelly Starrett foam rolling calves. You know, if you look at Kelly Starrett and then insert the body part and then just insert foam rolling after that, you will 99% of the time find some great massage techniques for that particular area. So these are foam rollers, these are what they're all about. You can get them online pretty cheap, usually between about 10 to 20 pounds. Often you can buy packs that'll have like a foam roller, a resistance band and a trigger ball inside it, which is everything that you could ever need for like 25 quid. And these kind of things are just essential. I'm not going to ramble on them too much longer, but for those of you who are finding a lot of restrictions in certain lifts, I'd just advise that you get one of these anyway, because they're going to really, really help keep you nice and healthy and limber for the rest of your life if you learn how to use them. If you neglect them, as we said, there are often certain times in lifts where it's not the technique that is the issue, it is a mobility issue. And just remember, if you ignore certain mobility issues, unfortunately, they do not go away. So yeah, get yourself onto a foam roller, girls, or get yourself onto a coffee jar and see what it's all about. Peace out.